So this is by far one of my favorite things that I learned about, aside from brain-derived neurotrophin factor, pond scum. How does your DNA have anything to do with pond scum? Well, if you watch this video, you're gonna learn. Could it be the secret to longevity? Really quickly, I want to preface this with stress kills, and stress also shrinks your telomeres, which makes you just die faster. And tetrahymena and a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, pond scum and Nobel Peace Prizes, dang, right? So if you watch these videos, you know we're going to be giving you some books to read, some Google cues to go climb down whatever rabbit hole is you'd like to satiate your learning, and then also some research papers because, well, you got to kind of put all three of them together to be able to convince yourself that something is real. Or maybe you watch random videos on the internet like mine and then believe everything I say is real, but please don't. Go do your own due diligences and make sure that I know what I'm talking about by us being on the same page, coming to the same conclusions, because there's so many books to read out there and research papers, and how many have I read? But do you know how they say that people smoke cigarettes look a lot older than they actually are? Yeah, cigarettes definitely shrink your telomeres, among other things. But the telomere effect, which this is book right here, is very good. It's going to talk about the tetrahymena. It's going to talk about pond scum. It's by Elizabeth Blackburn and Alyssa Epple. I always mix up their names. But have you ever wondered why some 60-year-olds look and feel like 40-year-olds and why some 40-year-olds look like 60-year-olds? You may have noticed about 10 years after graduating high school that people don't look like they did in high school. And then you might notice 10 more years after that that somebody's looking like somebody's grandma that definitely ain't their grandma. And in this book, it's going to mention overtraining, which could lead to increased levels of oxidative stress. Because based on your genetics, you could have a gene variant, your COD2, which could mean you have an elevated risk of cellular oxidative damage. And if you're overtraining and you're damaging your cells, that's bad. So if you're watching this on the website, you understand each and every video that I have is leading you down to one specific video where I reverse engineer the neuroprogression, the hidden mechanics of depression. As you can see here, knowing about your telomeres, depression is not only a brain disorder, but a condition affecting the whole body. So like when you're depressed, you're not just depressed, you're depressed, like really depressed. Like you're not, at least for me, I would only get out of bed to pee. So we're just going to leave that there. Depression is not only a brain disorder, but a condition affecting the whole body. This is due to the fact that increased physiological and chronic stress has been associated with accelerated aging, telomere length shortening, and the psychopathological characteristics of major depressive disorder, which that's MDD for short in the medical world, like T2DM, T3DM, T1DM, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 3 diabetes, which is like Alzheimer's, which hopefully is not going to happen. But you can look through this research paper that I would love you to read, but common mental disorders associated with telomere length. So now, if you're following everything we're teaching on here, you can see the correlations between activities that boost your telomerase, which there's many that do that you will learn in the book that we suggested to you. But then you can also understand that if you're doing things that shorten your telomeres, this is going to pre-expose you to becoming depressed, to weight gain, to stress, to anxiety. All of the things that human beings, from a scientific perspective of I don't feel like dying from something that I probably shouldn't die from, are not going to do. Because you have the option to choose. If you're watching this video, you have the information that you need to be able to make the correct decision. And by the end of this video, you are definitely going to have the information to make those decisions. But you can see types of mental disorders, most common, depression, which is very normal, stress, anxiety. We're going to skip over schizophrenia over here because I assume most people that are watching this don't have that. But I'm going to assume most people that watch these could have probably experienced one of the two at some point in their time in life. And if you've never experienced depression, congratulations, I don't know what that's like. If you've never had stress or anxiety, I also don't know what that's like. I suffered with both of those for a very long time. So the aim of this review is to summarize the current knowledge state and the role of telomeres in disorders compared to telomere length variations in patients receiving medications and patients not receiving medications. This also goes back to the research where we talk about major depressive disorder and the fact that depression medications mimic the increase of brain-derived neurotrophin factor, which can be influenced naturally. So just how type 2 diabetes was being treated with like pills and drugs and insulin, well, somebody figured out how to treat it naturally. So possibly maybe by the end of watching all these videos, you can understand how to help yourself naturally. Of course, talk to Dr. Tuck, your PCP, talk to somebody smarter than me, because of course they educate themselves on a daily basis, you know? They went to health school, or wait a minute, is it medicine school? One of the two, right? And then, sorry, I'm just dropping this one in here. You see this right here, brain-derived neurotrophin factor? It says complex mechanisms in the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, such as brain-derived neurotrophin factor. So here's your BDNF, here's your oxidative stress, here's your inflammatory stress, here's your excitotoxicity, here's your mitochondrial functioning, so mitochondrial DNA, whether or not your SNPs are just defunctioning or functioning, which gene variants, gene expression, the way that your DNA expresses itself can be influenced. And you can read Belief of Biology by Bruce Lipton if you don't believe me. Don't believe a random person on the internet. Believe the books, which is also another random person on the internet. But you can see cellular dysfunction damage has been linked to major depressive disorder. So, moreover, symptoms of depression are related to oxidative stress and inflammation. So this is where they talk about, or we talk about in the microbiome video, about leaky gut, low-grade inflammation. You could be consuming some foods that are just causing you to have a depressed ass life. And then this is as far as I'm going to go on this research paper because I want you to read through these. I want you to understand these from your own perspectives and educate yourself so you don't accidentally get sold into working with somebody or something that is not going to work based on just research. So reduced telomere activity and decreased levels of neurotrophic factors, but increased apoptosis, which is fasting stimulating a positive version of apoptosis, stress triggering a negative version of apoptosis, among other things, and then lower levels of the neurotrophin factors, the brain-derived neurotrophin factor, and reduced stem cell proliferation. So you can see, it is literally killing you. Depression is killing you. Stress is killing you. It is very obvious based on just one research paper that I'm introducing you to. And I challenge you to go read through them all because I didn't believe any of this stuff when I first started learning about it. First of all, it was like tetrawamata blah blah, pond scum, telomerase. What the heck is this? What are telomeres? You're telling me that there's something on the end of my DNA chromosome? What? I don't know what any of this stuff was. And then I started realizing, like, holy crap. It's hypothesized that depressive symptoms may lead to accelerated aging by decreasing telomere lengths. Let me show you a picture of when I was depressed and then 2 years after when I'm 2 years older. Here's depressed 220-pound gym bro Josh. Okay, there's depressed Josh. Right there's that image. I want you to just take in that image right there. He looks really unhealthy. Looks like he's eating crap. Definitely depressed. And then 20 hours every single day for an entire year, 3 to 5 days at the beginning of every single month, not eating food, optimizing, following our homeostatic line for 1 year. This is about a year and a half right here, but boom, that's the difference. This person is the same as this person, and this person is 2 years younger. Just in case you're wondering whose tush that is, it's mine. When I was really lost and just doing things I probably shouldn't have done, but jeez, leg day, what? So the reason we're going to start you off with this first Google phrase, telomeres and depression, is because you might not be depressed right now. Something in your life at some point in time could happen which could lead you into a depression. There's a lot of people that are older that lose their life partners and become depressed. There's a lot of people that are married and get a divorce and they become depressed. Something in your life may happen at some point in time, and you want to be equipped with enough understanding to not fall into the mindset trap or the physiological responses to stress that are going to lead you to a depressed lifestyle. So now when you're looking at Google, yes, Google is a good source of information. It is all based on what you type in is what you get out. So when you start with telomeres and depression, it's going to give you that research paper, Common Mental Disorders Associated with Telomere Length. And these are like questions that you really want to ask somebody. Like if there's a medical professional that's supposed to be helping you with something, just say, what do you know about telomeres and depression? And see what they actually know. And you'll learn from a book called The End to Illness, I think it's by something August, that there's questions that you can ask your doctors that your doctors won't know the answers to. Like they don't test brain-derived neurotrophin factor. Why? Because it's not something that's preventative. At least for something that they need to prevent, because it's not preventative medicine. It's, oh, you're sick? Well, come back whenever your blood is in a specific area and we're going to be able to help you. Like, if you've been in the medical industry and you've had issues, you know what it's like. It is not like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll help you. Oh, well, your tests aren't bad enough, so we can't help you. It's how, like, life works. Like, when somebody doesn't want to reproduce and wants their tubes tied, well, sorry, we don't do that, you know, and then somebody else will be like, yeah, we'll help you out. Like, so you got, like, both sides of the story. So what happens to telomeres as a result of stress? I can tell you, they shrink. So you can see an enzyme called telomerase can replenish it, but chronic stress and cortisol exposure decreases your supply. So this is where when you wake up in the morning, you don't go directly to your caffeine, you are actually letting yourself wake up. Chronic stress, this is why we say meditate. Find Zen, never stress again. The only person that stress and anger kills is you. So don't let somebody have power over you to kill you, because that's just, whoo! You're letting go of control because somebody wants to help you die faster. Say, not today. And then move on, because stress kills. So what happens when telomerase runs out? Well, this is when the DNA, so this is going to be replicating, so divisions and replication. And you're more than welcome to learn all this. I haven't looked into telomeres since the last time I did this video. You're basically going to understand enough about them to be like, okay, cool, that's just an interesting facet of health that I didn't know about before, that I know about now. And knowing about it now, well, leads you to just be able to make some better deductions in the future between connecting things that are valuable and things that are not valuable. So like telomeres, BDNF, fasting, gut health, meditation, self-love, affirmation, those all have like a nice little beautiful, I'm not going to stress because it's going to kill me. I'm going to love myself so no one can kill me. I'm going to eat healthy so I'm not raising my levels of inflammation and having some McDonald's that definitely shrinks my telomeres. And Skittles, absolutely just taking a punch to the DNA over here. Like, what are we doing over here? Eating Taste the Rainbow, Taste ADHD. Yeah, you like that one? But telomeres get shorter as we age. When telomeres run out, cell becomes inactive or dies, which leads to disease. So, based on your life, let me just give you a little bit of not in the training here. So we're going to go to that Fox whiteboard really quickly because I like to do things on a whiteboard to make it make sense as easy as possible. There's no way you can't understand what's on this whiteboard because the whiteboard is something I think we all learned off. Maybe a chalkboard. Maybe you're like me and you were raised on the chalkboard. So we're going to get rid of this random advertisement. Thank the Lord it's free, but we get an advertisement. So bam, that's definitely not a DNA piece right there. So what we're going to do is go whoosh, whoosh, and whoosh, whoosh, which also might look like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Looks like DNA right there, right? You know, homeostasisdiet.com. Oh, no, I'm not wearing that hat. Whoops. Whoa, programming, baby. I usually always have that hat on. But look at that, DNA strand. All right. So this will be your DNA. And let's scroll up a little bit. And let's say that right here after this is your telomeres. Bam. So, unfortunately, what you're going to learn in the telomere effect book is that one person that starts here, another person also starts, sorry about my weird looking, I'm an artist, I just promise you I'm so good at art. Somebody else might start here. So where one person's like, well, I've never been depressed before in my life. Another person's like, life is so hard. It's because it is. So same thing with obesity, with weight gain. One person is going to be pre-exposed to having extra weight and the other person is not going to be pre-exposed to that. So based on your environmental factors that you were born into, well, that would be this guy over here. Bad life, bad telomeres. They're going to talk about being in really shitty neighborhoods. Like, I was born in the ghetto. It was very scary. Honestly, it was very scary to go outside because there was constantly shootings and violence. And that's where I was born. So, not too safe, not too fun. Shrinks your telomeres. Person B, which we're going to use person green. born over here into the healthy environment, thus having longer telomeres. Person A, born into the bad environment, shortened telomeres. Parents having a very unhealthy diet, they're going to fall into the shorter telomeres in specific areas. People having very good diets, they're going to fall into the positive space. As we age, our telomerase, which is replenishing the telomeres will start to shrink themselves. And once they're gone, it starts to go into your DNA. That's when your DNA starts to break down. That's why humans are aging. That's why humans start to die. That's why the diseases that you get are usually diseases that run in the family. Because at the end of the day, you're genetically exposed to these based on the telomere length in your body that you can, however, influence. But baseline at birth is almost the same. You're born with so many pairs. So now, person A versus person B, this person could live till they're 95, 100 years old and have the same type of family tree, but a very different environmental aspect, the nature versus nurture. This is nature plus nurture. It's not nature or nurture, it's nature and nurture. So the conversations that you hear about, you start to recognize and research, you're like, nature versus nurture, it's both. It's not one or the other. They're not. It's not like I'm gonna take a step with my left leg and then never step with my right leg. They're the same. Like when you walk, if you have 2 feet, you probably walk with your left and right leg. You probably you don't shuffle to the side or anything. You're walking like a normal human being, not thinking about it. So nature and nurture are factors of this. And then a book of this that you can read as well is The Sicker, Fatter, Poorer. And I forget who the author is by that one, sorry. But Sicker, Fatter, Poorer would fall into understanding the environmental factors of the telomeres. So right here, this person is going to live longer than this person just because of their DNA. Period. There's no way out of that. Just kidding. There's technically a way out of it, but you'd have to go to some sort of lab in the middle of nowhere and hope that you don't have cancer cells in your body, because if you do, and you get some telomerase put in there, you could create immortal cancer, which, sounds like a fun way to die if you ask me. Just kidding, sounds terrible. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that straight line again. The homeostatic line, if you haven't heard of it by now, it's this life-changing thing. But if you're on the website, you already know what the homeostatic line is. If you're not on the website and you've never heard of me before, well, consider checking out the Homeostatic Line, which is 183 pages of information that's going to help you understand some books, research papers, and a lot more things that you might not have known now. And among things you learn, you might start taking your telomeres a little bit more seriously. So person A is going to be pink. Person green is going to be definitely not that color. They're going to be green. Person B is going to be this color. So, same thing with the weight loss videos. Same thing with the bigger the belly, the smaller the brain. The hippocampal research behind visceral belly fat. And is my brain shrinking? I think it is. But I also can't be the person that tells you that, because talk to your doctor, talk to your PCP, talk to somebody smarter than me that definitely does this stuff all day long. They definitely know what they're talking about, right? They're a doctor. There's no way that they don't know. So anyways, activities that you can use to increase the telomerase. Stress is going to put you in this direction. So no stress, your life is improving, you're going to live longer. No stress. Stress, your life is not improving. You are not going to live longer. With no stress, that leads to also implications of developing illnesses. You're going to be less likely to develop those illnesses. Having no stress, you'll live longer. Person B, sorry, a little too sharp of a curve there on person B. Person B was dying really fast. Person A, we're going to put that stress in there. Bam! Less stress, longer life, better quality. More stress, worse quality. So I think you know where this is going, but healthy diet, influencing telomeres? Absolutely. Longer life. Not depressed because you're exercising, and is that increasing your telomeres? Let's scroll out so we can make this nice and big. Absolutely. So can you influence your life? Yeah, we all know that one. But how much power do you have over it? More than I can fit into this little short video right here. But down here, we keep going down, right? No exercise, boom. Bad diet, boom. You're just ending it. And I tell you, I started in a place of having the bad diet, not sleeping right, stressing over everything, being angry over everything. So when you're looking at a base model of who's going to live the longest, I think the person that is making the optimal decisions is going to live longer than the person that makes the unoptimal decisions. However, to equip you against crazy people they're going to say, oh, well, everybody's going to die anyways, like blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is true, unfortunately. Somebody can eat McDonald's and smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol forever, and for some reason, for I don't even know why, they can live forever, right? They're just, you just, the Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins would be a good book there. But that person can live forever. But the question becomes, do you want to risk it? And I'm going to give you a little bonus piece of information here. So this is with the 50 Brain Cell Challenge. So if you consume one food that has roughly, we'll say, one linear ingredient, such as obviously salmon has multiple different ingredients and chemical reactions that happen in your body, but salmon is salmon. So that means one action, one possible reaction, versus a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, which I think last time I checked has about 36 different things inside of it. So you have about 36 different possible things that can happen inside of your body when you're consuming these items. And a fun thing to think about that I never thought about until I learned, which completely ruined these foods for me, was how your body breaks down each individual ingredient. So you're never just eating one serving size. So imagine eating 9 servings of these ingredients, and your body metabolizes those ingredients at a different rate than the other ingredients. So basically, yeah, we'll just consume a crap ton of iron and lead. And then you have multiple ingredients inside of the food that all metabolize differently. So yeah, it might taste like food, but it's not food. Read the book The Taste That Kills, or the Dorito effect. So when you're looking at influencing your life, well, obviously, logically, we're not going to eat a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. We're going to probably choose the salmon because your B vitamins, salmon, telomeres, you're going to learn about all that in the books. But just from a baseline position, would you rather have a chance of unknown 36 times or a chance of unknown 1 time? And I'm not going to, you obviously know the right decision. If you've watched this video this far, you're going to choose not the bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. So right here is an interesting paper by Texas A&M Biochemistry and Biophysics, the missing link between pond scum, and somebody over there spelled this wrong, but holds a promise for cancer research. So obviously everybody's dying from cancer. Now we know stress kills cancer, telomeres. Uh-oh, what's going on now? So you may ask yourself the question, why is he so bald? Well, it could be because genetics. It could have definitely been because of stress, because you can clearly see I was really stressed growing up. My whole life was just kind of like this. I was like, what's going on the whole time? So I definitely lived a stressful life, which has definitely influenced my telomere length over the years. However, if you've taken away anything from this video, you can influence your telomeres. You can influence your DNA. You can influence your health. So I know I normally give you more research papers. I know I normally give you more books. With telomeres, it's kind of one of those open-ended conversations that you will know where to start. But think about something in your life that is not functioning properly. Like you're not sleeping good enough. That's a great place to start to educate yourself on telomeres, which might remind you to sleep a little bit more. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Waking up in the morning and going directly to caffeine. Caffeine by Michael Pollan. Not having a proper diet. The microbiome diet. Or The Mind-Gut Connection. Or Grain Brain, Green Brain, Healthy Brain, Obesity Code. Books of that nature. The reason I don't want to tell you where to start with telomeres is because it's a very intricate topic, but it all comes back to the same place. So giving you multiple different places to start would be kind of not the right thing to do, at least based on having never known what this was and then reading books and research papers and finding out this is mentioned across the board in almost everything. Just want to leave you with this right here. So stress in the modern society, high percentage of individuals suffer from high levels of anxiety. We have adults in our reality who are not in the life that they want to be living, but they're living it anyways, and the anxiety that they have prevents them from changing the way that they live their life. So chronic exposure to physiological stressors has been associated with a number of diseases including obesity and abnormal fat deposits, metabolic syndromes, heart disease, inflammation, dendritic shortening, which do we know what dendritic shortening is? Once again, if you don't know what dendritic shortening is, click that right click, open that up. It's going to bring you into a chronic freaking stress-inducing contrasting patterns to your shortness. And now dendrites in the hippocampus, memory and learning center. I'm going to leave you that far. I'm not here to bore you to death with research. If you watch this far, you're the type of person that gets to learn how to be real smart. Because you can pay attention. And paying attention makes you real smart. Something along the lines of that. In the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. So, what's your prefrontal cortex? Was that the thinking part of the brain? Because your limbic system is the emotional part of the brain. So chronic stress can lead to overeating, which overeating leads to obesity. Overeating of the wrong foods, inflammation. Overeating, cardiovascular disease. Overeating, higher levels of sugar, lower levels of brain-derived neurotrophin factor. BDNF is connected to the telomeres. BDNF is connected to depression. BDNF is connected to the bigger the belly, the smaller the brain research. If you're watching these on the website, there's a reason that they're in order, and it's to really, truly make you never have to wander around the internet again and say, where do I find all these answers? There's so much conflicting information. There is a lot of conflicting information if you're getting your information from podcasts and random people who call themselves doctors that don't actually study one linear path. They're like, oh, there's chemicals in clothing now. Okay, great. Like, I thought you were teaching people how to do this. Now you're teaching people how to do that. They got to pick like one lane, and you'll realize they just are doing the thing that they want to do to stay relevant, and they're not trying to like properly educate you with videos and giving you resources that suggest you to other people. It's the right thing to do. Happy people, happy planet. Healthy people, healthy planet. Better people, better planet. I don't care who you give credit to. I just want your life to be better. So, cortisol and insulin. Suppression of anabolic hormones, which is bad. And then inflammation and oxidative stress. So all of these things, just from stress, are damaging our DNA and creating oxidative stress in our body. So to conclude on this video, The Telomere Effect is a good book. It's interesting to be able to tell people, what do you know about pond scum? And they're like, pond scum? You're like, yeah, tetrahymena. You might confuse some people, but that's okay, because I was confused at first. But sometimes confusing people where they go, huh? It's the most important moment that someone can experience is the, huh? What is that? And then you're like, oh, that's what that is. Ah, that's how that works. And then, aha, that's how telomeres work. So in the 4 phases of learning, that's why I'm walking you through these videos, because I want you to go through those phases of learning. You're like, telomeres, huh? What the hell are those? Oh, okay, they're like connected to our DNA and stuff, right? The more you learn, the more you earn an understanding of what it is that you're standing and or sitting in front of watching or listening to. If I'm just talking to you, I'd rather talk with you so you can understand this information. Because at the end of the day, whenever I talk to people, I don't want to have to hold back information or, pretend that I really enjoy repeating myself as a person, because nobody does. So what you do is you give people the information that they need to be able to find the answers that, well, I want you to find these answers so we can be on the same page. But you can look at meta-analysis studies between high anxiety and shortened telomeres. 19,424 participants showed a weak but significant association of high anxiety. I'm sorry, but this is the research paper where you can choose to do one of 2 things when you read them. One, you can be the skeptic and say, oh yeah, like it's like suggestive, it's not real. You can be that skeptic out there, or you could be the person that's like, okay, based on 20,000 people, which is an extremely tiny sample of human beings, there is a weak but significant association between the two. I don't even care if like one person out of tons of them, based on this, had negative effects. I'm going to just take that as irrefutable proof to myself to try it out and see how I feel. And you can get your telomeres tested. You'll learn about that in the Telomere Effect book. So the takeaway from this video is understand the relationship of telomeres to anxiety, to stress, to depression, to all of the other factors in your life that are influenced by understanding more about telomeres. Because once you understand these types of things, and then you start to make decisions in life, you start to be reminded that, should I be doing this? And at first, it's going to take you quite a while to really truly accept certain things as true. It took me 9 months to stop eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos, even when I knew they weren't good for me anymore. So if you think one video is going to change your life, probably not. Maybe a few research papers, maybe a few books, maybe a few months of letting all of that information seep in, and then be reminded as you do certain things how they scientifically affect the quality of your life. And as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to click the whatever buttons everywhere. I'm getting better at this. Give me some time. I'm real busy. If you're watching this on the website, there's going to be a document linked over somewhere in that direction. Not 100% sure where that document's at, but I really truly just want you to understand that the answers that you're looking for, you will in fact find them, but don't be upset if the answers that you get completely invalidate the life that you were taught to live. So the thoughts that you were taught to think, I was taught to think. And they never taught me about telomeres in high school. I don't even think people learn about this stuff in most of the college careers that they go through unless they're going to school for like medicine or something along the lines of health. These are not common topics that are taught, because if they were, well, most people would go to the grocery store and say, where's the food? Most people that were at a job where they were stressed out would say, oh my God, this job is killing me. The reason they call the graveyard shift is because find the answers. And then you'll realize why we say the things that we say. Whenever they say, yeah, stress kills. Well, have you convinced yourself that stress kills to the point where you will find Zen and never stress again? You know the answer to these questions. I don't. I have no idea who's watching this. But I know if you are watching this, you're now equipped with more information than somebody who didn't watch this. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the free resources in some direction that way, and I will see you in the next video. And I challenge you to go ask 10 random people, have you ever heard of telomeres before? Because if somebody has heard of telomeres and you're into this type of stuff, you're going to start some awesome conversations. And remember, the right words take you to the right place, and the wrong words take you to the wrong place. And that's not a good place. I lived there for a very long time. So I will see you in the next video. See ya.